Any sport. Brian, welcome to the show, man.
What's going on, fellas? How's it going?
Good. You've had adequate time to think about this, I'm sure. What's the most exciting finish in all of BYU sports, in your opinion?
Oh man, it's kind of tough for me because I'm just coming into the history of BYU sports. Back in 2009, the first time I've ever found out about BYU, so I'm definitely going to be biased and say I think it's got to be Max Hall to George, 2009 against Utah, double overtime at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, that catch up the middle, the two Utah players hitting each other, bouncing off, and then George running in to the end zone with his hands open and yelling, and everybody just storming the field and getting trampled on because I was the smallest person. It was fun, man. I think that's got to be, to me, the top. I like Beck to Harleen, but I wasn't really a part of the program then, so I got to give it to my boy George and my boy Max.
Okay, in 2009, when that play happens, where do you end up going once Andrew George scores the touchdown? Were you in the dog pile?
No. So it's me and Corby Eason, and we're on our knees, and I'm tired from the last series, and Corby comes over and says, "Hey man, get your helmet on, get ready, because if we score, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be mayhem." He's like, "You got to go straight to the locker room." I was like, "Okay." So a couple plays go by. George scores, and I completely forget what Corby says. I sprint out. I lose my helmet. My mouthpiece goes flying, and I go into the middle of the field, and I start to run to the dog pile, and then everybody, all the fans, I don't know how fast they got there. They were all running like 4.3s. Everybody got in the field so fast, and it was a stampede, man. I felt like Simba in The Lion King. I couldn't find my way to my teammates. And then everybody was just, everybody's so much taller than me that, I just gave up. And I remember seeing Robbie Buckner, because I kind of curled up. And I remember seeing Robbie Buckner. He was like, "Brian, come here." So I started crawling, and I finally ended up with O'Neal Chambers. And then some great fans, I was like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to get back to the locker room." So literally by the 50-yard line, everybody picked me up, and it was like a rock and roll concert, and they literally carried me all the way to the locker room.
I've seen a picture of you, dude.
That's a great photo. And they're like, "Man, this guy's light."
Well, and everybody was like, "Oh man, that's how you know you're a fan favorite, and everybody loves you." And I was like, yeah." They were just helping me get to the locker room because I was too small, to weed through everybody. So, with that and that whole experience, that's my first time playing Utah. So the first time I got to experience that rivalry, man, that's a game I will never forget.
You're like, "Man, this is fun. Does this happen every year? This is great, you guys."
How about the bookends for your 2009 campaign at BYU? You open the season with a win against Oklahoma in Jerry's World, and you end that season with Hall to George.
And then Oregon State. But, yeah, in the regular season.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's pretty stinking awesome.
Man, that was a blessing that season. To come in and that's my first D1 game, right? And I ended up being a starter, and the first official game in that stadium, and words can't really express how I felt. It still is a dream to this day. I know, there's probably 3 or 4 other games I can explain in detail. But that game right there, I still remember just floating and just thinking that this isn't real. This isn't, I'm really playing D1. I got to pinch myself in. I still pinch myself now just thinking about it. But that was an amazing finish as well, but just that reality and how surreal it was. I was still getting off that yellow bus. So, it didn't really soak in like some of the other games in that Utah game.
Your experience when you first got to BYU that first season must have been amazing, because those are some of the greatest moments in program history. And you're thinking, this is